This podcast replay is brought to you by Pallet Rack City, specializing in knockdown and installations of your warehouse equipment. They also sell used forklifts and dock equipment, largest used rack inventory in South Florida. You want a great rack? Call Eddie right now, 305-887-9212, Pallet Rack City.
Tim Ryan, a former football player, he's also a radio analyst and NFL analyst, and he was suspended for his comments of Lamar Jackson. And I got to tell you something, the 49ers, I understand because of the climate and the world that we're in now, why they suspended him. Okay, whether you agree with it or you don't, it is what it is, okay? I disagree with the comment, the way Tim phrased it. It's a comment that you're going to get burned no matter what. Now, we can delve into the mind of Tim Ryan and see what you think he's thinking and where he's coming from. That might be a whole different conversation that we can have right now. But the 49ers, let me read the story for you. Suspended radio commentator Tim Ryan for saying on a radio show on Monday that Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson is good at faking handoffs because of his dark skin with a dark football. Okay? Now, we hold Tim to a high standard as a representative of our organization. He must be more thoughtful with his words. Tim has expressed remorse in a public statement, has also done with us privately. The 49ers said in a statement to the San Francisco Chronicle, "We know Tim is a man of high integrity and are confident he will grow and learn from this experience," which I'm glad they're not firing him for this, because it's an irresponsible comment, okay? Because you don't attribute anybody's skin color to anything. The fact that you're thinking about that, already people will question you that you're bringing that up, because Michael Vick had the same skin color and we didn't bring it up, and so did Randall Cunningham and any other, black quarterback that's athletic. Because obviously we can't put Warren Moon in that same sentence, or Jeff Blake, or some of those guys were like pocket passers. They weren't the athletic type. Not that Warren wasn't athletic, but Warren wasn't a guy that was ever going to beat you with his legs. He had no intentions ever on beating you with his. If you ever caught Warren Moon running, he was like Dan Marino. He was just running because, dude, he had no freaking choice to run. I mean, it was like that. Like he really wanted to throw it away, but he goes, damn, there's a couple yards, I can get him. What the hell? I'll do it. Warren was one of those guys, and we never brought up skin color for any of that. And in today's world, as PC as it is, if you're back in the day, 30, 40, 50 years ago, you probably would have gotten away with that. And you would have had some people reasoning that excuse. So the way he phrased it in the broadcast was, he's really good at the fake, Lamar Jackson, but when you consider his dark skin with a dark football, with a dark uniform, you could not see that thing, Ryan said on the air. I mean, literally, you could not see when he was in or out of the mesh point, and if you're a half step slow on him in terms of your vision, forget about it. He's out of the gate. Now, you are not in any way, shape, or form going to get away with those kind of comments in today's environment. 50 years ago, a whole different world. 50 years ago, they were throwing the N-word around like it was nothing. Okay? 50 years ago, blacks were sitting in the back of a bus. They had separate water fountains. It was a different world. People thought differently. Okay? They were insensitive about others, whether it was women, whether it was blacks, you name it. Hell, if you were homosexual in those days, oh my Lord, don't even come forward. Okay? I mean, we all know it was a different world. Women didn't have the same rights. They weren't viewed upon. They were like, stay in the kitchen, woman. That's where you belong. That kind of stuff. That's the way it was.
They used to say barefoot and pregnant.
Right, exactly. So it's a whole different America. And there is no way in this world okay, that you can imagine getting away with that comment. I don't know what Tim Ryan was thinking at that moment. He clearly had a brain fart. I know the guy personally. I don't know him at all to be a malicious person, to be a bad person, to be a racist. Okay? Now, I can't tell you that I'm tight buddies with Tim Ryan or anything like that. You know, I don't know him like I know Bill. That's a brother of mine. That's a whole different ballgame. But when it comes to Tim Ryan, this is one that he's going to have to live with for a long, long time. And people are going to look at him as a racist. Because when you're using somebody's color of skin as a crutch for why they're successful, it's kind of an embarrassing statement. No, let me rephrase that. It's an embarrassing statement. There's no kind of in it. And that's because you're not giving somebody the credit that they deserve for what they're doing. Look, I'm of the belief that I give Lamar all the credit in the world for what he's doing. He's making me look terrible. Now, I don't believe his style of play is a long-term thing in the NFL. That has nothing to do with color. Because it's the same thing for Josh Allen. If neither one of those two dudes learn how to beat people from the pocket on a consistent basis, Josh Allen will end up concussed and out of this league, and so will Lamar Jackson. Or they'll have busted knees or whatever it is. But if you think you're going to run the football like crazy against NFL defenses, I'm sorry, I don't believe in that. That has nothing to do with color. That has to do with philosophy. But when you start including some guy's color that hides the ball and all that, it just, come on, dude. Give me a break. Okay? If you're a football player, if you're a linebacker, you will learn how to play the game, period. It's not because of the color of skin you're not going to be able to find the football or find the guy. Lamar's good at that and really fast. That's the thing. That's what Tim Ryan had to say. That he's quick. That's the problem with defenses. He's quick at placing the ball and getting it out. And let me tell you something. Steve DeBerg is as white as it gets. Go watch him handle the football. You didn't know who had the ball. And it had nothing to do with skin color because he's white. Watch him. Watch Peyton Manning. There were certain guys that defenses and linebackers will tell you they had no idea who had the ball, and it had nothing to do with skin color. It had to do with being, quick and being able to know how to place the ball and being able to do the same movements when you hand off and when you don't and you're keeping it. All those fakes, all that stuff that you're playing with the football, there's a skill to it. There is a talent to it. The guys that are lame with it, that's how they read you quickly. The guys that really work at all of that, they're the ones that end up excelling at it, and it has nothing to do with skin color. Nothing.
Favre doing that stupid little handoff and then jump up and act like he was throwing.
Right, yeah.
To hold the safety.
Right, to hold the safety, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It would do the same thing every time.
All the time. And those are things that you do to sell the play. But the great quarterbacks work hard at ball handling. Believe it or not. That's why you see them handing off and snapping and moving left, right, whatever, and they practice it over and over and over again. And they got to have the timing. And then when there's a new running back there, they have to then practice it with him a whole bunch of times. Why? Because every running back's different. Everybody has a different burst. Everybody has a different first step. And it's different the way you place the ball, where you place the ball, because one running back might be taller than the other. Everything changes. So ball handling becomes extremely important. And Lamar Jackson is not the first quarterback to be phenomenal with ball handling and confuse people. And for Tim Ryan and everybody else, there have been plenty of white dudes that do it. Has nothing to do with your color at all. Lamar Jackson does not have an advantage over anybody else because of his skin color. Lamar Jackson has an advantage over almost everybody that's done it because of his speed and athleticism. That's why. But DeBerg and Peyton Manning were just as good as Lamar at it. The difference is neither one of those dudes can move. They can only do that within that box. That's it. Lamar, you flinch, he's gone. You can flinch with Brady. You can flinch with DeBerg because he's still going to be there. That's the difference, dude. It's just a God-given ability. You didn't have to go skin color because now Tim Ryan has to live with racist. That's what he's going to have to live with that, unfortunately. Whether I think it or not doesn't matter. He's going to have to live with it. Because you use somebody's color to actually define who he is. And that's ridiculous. You can't do that, man. And that's where I see the Tim Ryan situation becoming a problem for the man. For a long time. And remember, we're in this electronic age now. Everything is saved. That audio clip, that'll live forever. It's just one of those things. And he will not be able to live it down. He can live the suspension out, and the 49ers will bring him back. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a change at the end of the year because of lingering effects from it as the weeks go on, that somebody walks up to the owner and says, oh, this guy brought it up to me. One of our sponsors, who happens to be black, is not happy that we kept Tim Ryan. All these kind of little things are going to come up, and I would not be surprised if Tim Ryan, they always say, well, you know, after thinking about it, because of the reaction from fans and media members and our sponsors, we've had to make a change in our broadcast crew, and we are going to let go of Tim Ryan. And we're sorry about it. We wish him the best. We know that he's a good person, but we have to do what's best for our franchise moving forward, yada, 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 all that stuff. So I would not be surprised if he keeps his job right now, but then in the offseason, there's a change made after.
Howard Cosell was done.
Yeah.
Jimmy the Greek
was
done.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was a different era.
Yes.
You could get away with still a lot of stuff in those days.
Still doesn't make it right.
No, I'm not saying what it was right. I'm just saying that back then it was still more acceptable, normal.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but that's what it was. You know what I mean? Now, there's no way you're going to get away with that, man. There's no way anybody's going to go along with you, pretty much, unless they're white supremacists. You know, outside of that, people are... This is a very PC world, man. Have you dealt with Generation Z and millennials? Have you dealt with them? Because they literally take everything. Everything is literally everything. Whatever they don't know how to kid around. They don't know how to joke. Whatever. It's just one of those things. They take everything serious. It's weird, man. They are touchy about everything. It's a different world, man. Archie Bunker, George Jefferson, those guys, Red Fox, they could not survive. Maude could not survive 2 minutes in this world.
Back in the day, comedians would do the college campuses.
Yes.
And that ended because of them taking everything so literal.
Yeah. And it's just, and now it's really bad, dude. It's really, really bad. And in today's world, you gotta watch what you're saying. Okay? If you're that kind of person and you think like that, man, you better watch what you say.